Hi, I'm Bryson, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Bryson. I'm joined today by the man, the legend, the only guy that has ever been called out by name in Mr. Robot, Dave Kennedy.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure thing, man.
Oh, you got
We've
your
known each
apron?
other
I have
for
to go
quite
get
a
my
few
apron
years.
too.
What's that?
Yeah, that's awesome. I said I'm gonna have to go get my apron too.
Oh, you like that? Well, I'm 99% unicorn, bitch. What you got?
Not a unicorn.
So today's episode, we are going to match donations in total up to $500 for the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, which is supporting students at historically Black colleges. All you got to do is post your donation online and Twitter, tag me and Dave, and we will go from there. All right, so Hacking Dave's famous smoked wings. First of all, Dave, I couldn't get any wings, so I got drumsticks. Am I going to be okay?
I saw that. I saw that. You're gonna be just fine with drumsticks. So interesting enough. Let me see if I got. Real quick. Let me see if I can find some here really quick. I know I have some upstairs. Let me go upstairs really quick and just show everybody what I usually get. And I usually get. I go to the butcher shop. About once a week now, but I go to the butcher shop and I usually get a bunch of meats and I'll throw them in the freezer. They're just as fine in the freezer, in my opinion. I don't taste any differences when they're fresh versus freezer, to be perfectly honest, especially on the smoking side. But I'll thaw them out and I'll brine them and I'll do everything first. Let me go get a pack of what they look like really fast. Back in 2 seconds.
All right. Well, while he is off getting more meat, just a reminder, you are welcome to interact with us. So throw questions in your little question area down here, and we will respond to them. Oh, let's see. How close are you to meeting the fund? That is a great question. I think nobody has donated yet, so I think we got plenty of space. As far as I know, I haven't seen any posts. So if somebody's done it, I haven't been able to see it, and I won't be able to check Twitter during the broadcast. So that's a great question. We are encouraging you all to donate, and we will match up to 500.
Yep, sounds good. So this is usually what I get from the butcher store. It's just their party wings, and you can even get the ones that are in the frozen section, which is perfectly fine. But it's the breast and the wing of the chicken, and the drumstick. So or the drumstick and the wing of the chicken, and they make great wings. So that's usually what I get from the butcher shop, and I just freeze them. So this is frozen, hard as a rock. So yeah.
I mean, I would say the biggest thing is they have to have skin to be able to pick up and hold the smoke,
Yeah.
and retain the flavor. Because as you're doing this, one of the biggest things when you're working with meat is making sure it maintains its moisture. Skin helps maintain moisture. Bone, any meat close to the bone also helps us do the same thing. But this is why you would not want to do this with, since Americans are so in love with chicken breasts, that won't work. We need things with skin.
Yeah, chicken breasts, usually when I'm smoking chicken breasts, I will brine them and put them in a much higher temperature to cook them faster. And it still gets a kind of a crispy outside, which some people like or don't like. Usually when cooking chicken breasts, it's kind of hit or miss, depending on those. I usually don't like doing chicken breast that much.
All right, man. So first of all, most important question, what are you drinking?
I am drinking the Whistle Pig Boss Hog Samurai Scientist. So pretty decent bourbon from the Whistle Pig distillery. And Whistle Pig's decent. Not a huge fan of them in their bourbons, but this one really here is pretty good. It's nice and spicy. It's at 120 proof, and it has a lot of good flavors. So drinking some of that whiskey right now as we get our cooking going on.
All right. So what's up? What do we do first?
All right. So first and foremost, when you're going through this, now I've done some of these steps already. So Bryson will walk you through some of these, but what I usually do first is I prepare my chicken wings in a brine. And there's a lot of debate on whether or not brine makes a big difference or not. To me, I can noticeably tell it. Some people like putting, there it is, look at that brine. That's a good brine right there, look at that color. So when you look at brine, what you're trying to do is influx the brine with flavor, and most specifically juices. So when you're putting your chicken on the smoker, it's gonna dry out pretty quickly. If you don't do a brine, I find that the chicken becomes almost leathery on the outside, and it's a little bit harder to eat and doesn't taste as well. So I prefer brining for about 24 hours. I'll put the chicken in there. 12 hours is fine too. 12 hours, 24 hours doesn't really make that big of a difference. And what I use, and you can look at the link in the show notes for the recipe for all of this. We published a recipe, but I use 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 2 tablespoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, tablespoon of crushed pepper, half cup of maple syrup, and I also use 3 cups of water, and then 1 cup of apple cider. So when I put all that together, it gives it a nice sweet garlic onion flavor to it. Always usually use a little bit of salt with that as well, and helps out a lot with the flavoring, kind of bringing everything through. And so what you do is you take a bag, and I prefer, if you could see it here, let's see what we can see over here. So I have this food saver, and this thing is an amazing investment if you have one. And it shrink wraps. You can also use Ziploc bags for sure. That absolutely works. For the food savers, it has a little compartment up here where you can pull out the bag, and I'll do a demo here. So you pull the bag out, and you tuck this underneath, and you put the length of what you want, and then you just run this through. This cuts the bag. So now we have a bag with 2 ends on it, right? And what you do here, turn it on, and we're gonna drop it into here. We're just gonna seal the one end. So it's gonna automatically seal the one end for us. It takes about maybe 10, 15 seconds or so. And it'll seal the bag. And you'll see here now that we have a heat mark all the way across the side here, and it's completely sealed. So there's no way for liquids to get in and out of it in any way, shape, or form. So it's a full sealed bag now. You put your chicken in here, you put your brine that you made in here, and then this gets a little tricky because it's kind of heavy at that point, especially if you're doing a lot of wings. I usually do about 25 wings or so, which, you want to do a little bit of a bigger bag. That's the thing. You want to get a little bit of a bigger bag, and then when you put it back in here, it's going to suck all the air out and it's going to automatically seal it. Now, the problem with wetness is there's a little bit of a drip tray in here, but when you go to put it in there, if the water starts getting sucked in there, it's not going to seal it very well. So you want to seal it before it actually starts kicking the water back up when you're going through and do it. There's also really cool gadgets like this one right here. You can put it on top of a mason jar, and it'll suck all the air and seal the mason jar for you as you go through and do it too. So little cool contraptions that you can use for sealing pickled things and that type of stuff. So if you push this back into here, see it's sucking the air out now. And you see it start to get a little bit less. See it starting to suck up. And now when it detects that it's almost done, it'll automatically seal it for you. So now it's sealing the package for us. And when I'm doing certain types of meats and stuff like that, I'll put in here. One of the things that I do that people think is sacrilege when cooking is when I do my brisket, I do a brisket for 8 hours on the smoker until I hit the stall, which is about 150, 160, more like 160. And after I hit the stall, I'll actually put my brisket in a bag and seal it and put it in a sous vide for 3 days. And it comes out absolutely incredible. My wife, who is a huge steak lover, says that my sous vide brisket destroys my steak, my sous vide steak in every way, shape, or form. So I know it's sacrilege in the brisket community to go and say that, but it turns out absolutely juicy and incredible when I go through and do it. So that's that. So once we got our brine, we pop it in the fridge for 24 hours. You want to put yours in your brine, Bryson? There it is. Sits in there for 24 hours. Comes out mighty tasty. So once we have our brine ready to go, I usually put it directly onto the smoker, but I put my smoker on at 225. And it's a pretty decent temperature. You can go 200 for like 3 hours. You can do 225 for 2 hours, 250 for about an hour and a half. It just depends. But since we're going to be air frying, we'll be cooking it a little bit more through that process too. So it doesn't need to be fully done as we kind of go through and do it. But I start my fryer my smoker at 225, and then I get my rub ready as I'm going through. And rub wise, I've already made the rub, so it's right here. I usually make a lot of it just for occasions like this. But Bryson has the rub right there in front of you, which is a half tablespoon of ancho chili pepper, a tablespoon of smoked paprika.
I gotta make
Whoa, okay.
All right, start again.
A half tablespoon of ancho chili pepper.
Mm-hmm.
And a half tablespoon of smoked paprika. Oh, okay. Sorry. Half tablespoon of onion powder. I love it. Doesn't need to mention it right. He doesn't need to measure it out. I do the exact same thing.
I don't
a half tablespoon of.
Do it by feel.
Me neither. That's right. Half tablespoon of kosher salt. A tablespoon or 3/4 tablespoon of light brown sugar.
I just got regular sugar. Still works.
Still works fine. Give it a little bit of sweetness. Got 3/4 tablespoon of chili powder.
I'm gonna do a chipotle.
There you go. A little smoky flavor. Paprika, 3/4 tablespoon of paprika.
Yep.
There you go. Some cumin, 3/4 cumin, tablespoon. Or sorry, teaspoon. My bad. Can't read my own handwriting.
It's weird. I thought I had all this stuff laid out beforehand. It's my bad.
It's a good half teaspoon of garlic powder.
Garlic and everything.
Everything you put in has to have garlic.
You want to be a little fancy. You know, they make roasted garlic powder, which has a slightly different flavor.
Sounds good. Then we got some cayenne pepper, dried mustard powder.
Yep.
And then black pepper, oregano, and thyme.
While you're at that, if you could also go through your brine, Kevin asked the question.
Yeah. What was the question?
Yes. What was in the
brine again?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the brine is so it's 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 2 tablespoons of salt. I sometimes go a little bit more on the salt. The more the salt, the better. That's a good looking rub. 2 tablespoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika. I like the smoked paprika versus the regular paprika. Gives it a little bit more flavor to it, to me, in my opinion. A cup of apple cider. Sometimes I'll go a little bit more on the apple cider. 3 cups water, 1 tablespoon crushed pepper, half cup of maple syrup, and that's basically it. So that's the brine we make, and it comes out nice and sweet, and it's got a nice little bit of a spice to it, but also the apple cider flavoring that kind of comes through the whole brine. And that's what it looks like. It looks beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm a
very
huge
similar color and texture to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
and, I like tasting. I like tasting my rub. To kind of tell where it's at. Because sometimes you might be missing something. But that's a good rub.
Don't do that after you put the raw meat in
it. That's a good idea. And wash your hands. Always practice clean. A funny story really quick before we get going on the next round is that one of my favorite meals to make is smoked pork belly. And with smoked pork belly, I cut them up into cubes, so they end up being about kind of like that big or so. And they get smaller as they smoke. But I'll put some mustard all over it as kind of a base, and then I put my rub over it, and then I smoke it for a few hours, and then I wrap it in apple cider, some brown sugar, some honey, and some butter. And I coat that with it, and then I put it in barbecue sauce and let it sit for about 5 minutes to kind of thicken up the barbecue sauce. And it's funny because my son, the past 2 times I've made it, has had explosive, horrible bowel movement issues, but none of us have had it. And so I stopped making pork belly for a while because I thought my son, was having some reactions to it. And recently, about a week ago, I made pork belly again, and he was fine the whole time with it. Did not have any diarrhea, so that was a good thing. So none of us had it though. It was just him. So I just want to throw that out there. It wasn't my cooking.
What was the problem with your dog earlier? That's the reason we got started a few minutes late.
My gosh,
we're focused on food.
My dog is having some issues at the moment as well. Yeah. So anyways, we'll keep it going. So once you got the rub on there, and you let the rub sit, you don't have to let the rub sit long. It's not like meats, like for like a brisket. Usually I'll put the brisket on for, it looks looking good. I'll put the brisket rub on and let the brisket rub sit for usually, 10, 12 hours sometimes, depending on, let the meat sweat a bit. Don't need to do that for chicken, especially when it's been brined. And we start a smoker up and get it to about 225, and set them up there and let them go. Now, Bryson, I know you're going to show smoking on non-conventional smokers if you don't have a smoker. I just bought a brand new Traeger that I got this weekend, and I'm smoking currently on my brand new Traeger that I have sitting over here. So I will, while Bryson's showing you how to smoke there, I'll walk out really quick to my smoker, and we'll go out there and we'll take a look what it looks like.
All right, so like I promised, Dave is going to show off his new smoker, which now has a working controller unit.
It's amazing. I'm not going to lie. It's a whole different level of laziness. It's great.
But for those of you who do not have the space for a full-on smoker, like I promised, you don't need an air fryer to do this, and you don't need a smoker to do this. There's actually a trick that chefs use in the kitchen, and it's simple. It's an aluminum box. So Coleman makes these. They're really cheap. They're like 40 some bucks. And all it is wood chips that are contained over basically grating that holds the chicken. So for the ones that I did, that I've already prepared, I've done them over orange wood. So I'm going to finish these ones off of over an orange wood. But it's really simple. So all I got to do, and you don't have to worry about setting off a smoke alarm or anything, because the smoke is actually really well contained inside, like that. And all I have to do is just keep it over a low flame, and the smoke from the wood down there actually comes up, stays self-contained. You do it for several hours. You don't cook it as long as you would on a traditional smoker, but one of the advantages you get is that it doesn't dry the meat out. So everything's self-contained, and you end up with really juicy, but you're not going to get that same smoke ring, but you will get the same smoke flavor. There we go. So I'm up and going on my wings, or drumsticks.
Nice. Drumsticks. So we're outside, and this is the new Traeger smoker that I got. It's the Timberline 1300. What's nice about the new Traegers is that they're stainless steel and super thick, and they're the only pellet smokers that guarantee a plus or 5 minus temperature differential regardless of the temperature outside. So what's nice about that is getting consistent heat as you're going through and doing your smoke, and Traeger does a really good job with that. I previously I have a Camp Chef as well, and I had what's called a Camp Chef Woodwind Wi-Fi, which was a great smoker. Also had a Wi-Fi controller on it to be able to control through the apps. But I ended up pulling the trigger on the Traeger more for the space that it has in it and the heat consistency as we go through. Plus, I like the app integration a little bit better. So, hey, we're in tech, got to do the same thing. But I kicked my Traeger up to 225, and we have our wings basically cooking on the grill here. They're looking pretty decent. Take a look at this really fast. So we got our wings nice and cooking, looking good. And they're about ready to pull off on the grill. We're gonna pull these off. And I just got a little pan here, I'm gonna put them in. My kids think that the name Dave's Amazing Wings came from my kids. My kids think it's the greatest thing ever for the wings. Pop these off real quick. All right. Turn off my grill. Don't need that on anymore. And we'll head back inside. I got about 25 wings here. And what we're going to do next is we're going to air fry these suckers in my Ninja Foodie, which I am a huge fan of. It can do baking, broiling, grilling, air frying, drying if you want to do like beef jerky and things like that. Allows you to do quite a few different things kind of built all in one. So I'm just inside here. All right. So you can see over here on my left-hand side is my foodie. Now, there's a lot of different ways of doing this. Bryce is going to show you how to do it without an air fryer itself. You can do it in a conventional oven. What's nice about the foodie is it's quick. It doesn't have a lot of space in it. You know, you look at the bowl. The bowl's about this big, but you could fit easily probably 50 wings in here. You know, per one time you're doing it. But we'll go ahead and get this heated up and power this on. And I'm going to do air crisp. And I don't like going to 390, which is its default. 390 seems to fry the wings too fast and kind of burns them a bit, especially if you're doing lower temperatures or you have them at lower temperatures. So I'm going to go down to 350. And I did the wrong thing there. 350. And then we're going to do it for 10 minutes. So I'll start that up. And it's going to heat up and it's going to keep going while we get out. And while we wait, I did make the barbecue sauce. Now, the barbecue sauce is 2 cups ketchup, 1 tablespoon lemon juice. Oh, I'm gonna Bryce, Yep.
Ketchup.
One tablespoon lemon juice. So ketchup, lemon juice. I like using the actual lemon for that. We got 1 teaspoon of rub that we made earlier. So throwing a little bit of rub in. Gives a nice little bit of flavor in there with all the spices that we put in there. And then I'd use 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And then after that, I use 2 tablespoons of honey, get a little bit of sweet flavor to it, a little sweet barbecue.
I'm going to use Mike's Hot Honey, which was featured on Lena Terraz's really, really amazing pork that we made a few weeks ago. So check out that episode, but this was featured, and so I'm using that. Give it a little extra kick.
Hot honey sounds incredible.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's a great idea.
I'm like using it on everything. I'm like, oh, what else can I put this on?
Dude, I can put that on my pork belly. How hot is it?
It's not that hot actually. Once you when you try it raw, it's got a little bit of kick, but once you cook it, seriously, like the spice comes right down. It's good. Really versatile. Highly recommend.
One thing that my family doesn't like very much is spice. I love spice, so the more spice the better. But when I'm cooking for my family, I really can't get away with it, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm cooking for a 16-year-old girl. She pretty much doesn't eat anything I make.
Throw some apple cider vinegar and some brown sugar in there, or regular sugar, and some Frank's Red Hot, and you can obviously use any hot sauce that you want in that side.
So I have another one to feature there. Next week's episode is Dan Tentler, aka this. I was one of the original guinea pigs for his Nope sauce, which I think he actually sells on Etsy. I don't know where he got with that. You can reach out to him at this. So I'm going to be featuring Dan Tentler, who is we're going to be cooking crepes with mushrooms next week.
Dan is definitely a cooking fool, no question about it. How's the Nope sauce? Have you tried it?
Of course I have. I was there in the very beginning. The stains on my ceiling are still there from him learning that it continues to ferment. So when I opened it, it blew up. The other thing that I taught Dan was that hot sauce should not be mostly peppers. It has to be a whole bunch of other things and then peppers.
Yeah.
It was legal.
Well, you're getting the flavor and then you're getting the heat typically from the peppers itself, right? And yep, so that's good. I actually made two different types of, I made a barbecue sauce and I actually made a little bit of a hot sauce as well. And I'll add the hot sauce recipe for Bryson, but it's basically jalapeno, habanero, vinegar, garlic, salt, and pepper. That's basically all it is. And some water. Looking good. That's a good looking barbecue sauce. Taste it. How's it taste? Good. All right. So what I go from here, so this is still preheating. Oh, it says add now, so I can add the food to go and do it now. I'm gonna do two different batches of this, again, for my kids. So the first one I'm gonna roll the barbecue sauce. So get our hands nice and dirty here. Throw the chicken wings in the barbecue sauce. And I'm using my hands, because why not? Get it nice and covered in there.
So the way that I'm going to be doing this, since I don't have an air fryer, the point of an air fryer is you are quickly moving air around the food to cook it. And so, one, that is the convection setting on your oven. And the other thing is, if that's kind of hard, you can also make this in a toaster oven. You kind of got two options there to pull it off. The key for doing it in the oven, of course, is you need the flow of the air to be able to move around it. So I'm using a traditional roasting rack, which I'll show here after I finish getting messy, using aluminum foil underneath, so it's really easy to clean up. But more importantly, it's got all the vents there so the air can circulate around the meat. You can also do this in, even better, in a roasting rack. That also works even better than what I'm doing here. I just couldn't find my roasting rack.
All right, we got these in the air fryer. It's cooking for 10 minutes. We're gonna flip it after 5 minutes, just kind of mix them around a little bit. Now, I normally have gloves that I wear, barbecue gloves that are heat sensitive, or not heat sensitive. They do very well against heat. And I usually do that for mixing and everything else. I messed them up today when I was cleaning out my Camp Chef grill. They got all kind of nasty, so I threw them out. So I have some new gloves coming in tomorrow, which I didn't have for the show. So while we wait, I'm gonna go get some tongs really quick so I can flip them.
Yep, I got my tongs.
The tong to tong tong tong.
I was telling Dave this is what happens when he hangs out with me twice in a day. Is shit happens, so it's my fault. It's all my fault.
Anything that went wrong today was definitely Bryson's fault, because when you deal with Bryson twice a day, just shit goes bad.
I mean, historically, it's worked out that way. I take it. I got broad shoulders, man. I can take it.
While we wait, I got these other wings here. I'm gonna throw in some hot sauce. So I'll mix these around in the hot sauce.
What got you into cooking to start with? Like, why did you start cooking?
You know, for me, Aaron works a ton. I work a ton, and we kind of traded off back and forth with the kids for cooking. We kind of started off with just basic things like HelloFresh and that type of stuff, to be honest with you. And you know, for me, what I really started homing in on was, you know, my kids really started enjoying it a lot, the food that I was making, and I really like that. So I started getting into cooking quite a bit. I used to cook when I was a kid. I used to work at a place called the Coffee Cup. It was in a place called Bedford, Ohio, and I used to do the cooking there and help out there. And I enjoyed being a chef before I joined the Marines, and so kind of spawned it back up again, and started. When I go in on something, I kind of go all in and figure it out and try to understand the ins and outs of everything. And so I started off with more sous videing with everything, which I really like. I love sous vides. I think they're incredible. And then I started, you know, just cooking basically every day for my family. And so now I pretty much cook every single day for my family. I enjoy it more than anything now. It's pretty much my favorite thing to do for the family. And then I got into smoking, and I pretty much smoke everything now. So I literally probably smoke 4 or 5 times a week at this point. I work out 4 or 5 times a week so that I can offset the smoking that I'm eating. So I've been able to keep the weight off, which is great. But at the same time, you know, not really making any gains. So
Yeah, man, I gotta say, you're looking good. Anytime you want to come to our yoga or HIIT workouts, you're welcome to join.
Have you ever seen the tonal system?
The what?
Tonal?
Tonal system.
Tonal.
Is that when somebody yells at you? Is this like boot camp?
No, I have this workout machine that I have. It's kind of like the Peloton, but for weightlifting and cardio. And it's all resistance weights, and you have a personal trainer, and you're literally doing all these great bench presses, everything up to 200 pounds per hand. It's pretty neat. It goes right into your wall, and that's been an amazing thing for us, especially during quarantine. Being able to work out in my own house in a very small area, and being able to kind of complete that, which is good. So heavily recommend if you're looking to work out a personal home piece. It's Tonal, Tonal. So.
Or you can just
jump
6 minutes on Zoom with me, and we'll do it with I'll just yell at you and make fun of you. Like that's how I do it with everybody.
That's right. It's the best way to do it.
Bryson, so we got 5 minutes to go. Or a personal trainer with Tonal. Your choice.
I'm going with, but you gotta wear the this thing, the 99% unicorn.
I don't think I can really work out in an apron.
I think you should try.
I'll take that under advisement, man.
Funny. So we got, we're about to switch this out a little bit and switch it up. So we'll take a really quick look at this looks like in about 30 seconds. But what I really like about this air fryer is how fast it heats up and the high temperatures that you can do with it. So if you're looking for kind of like an all-in-one that does roasting, baking, dehydration, grill, all together, the Ninja Foodie is probably my favorite in that series. Easy way to cook. You can do hamburgers. I can do chicken on that. Now I prefer to smoke hamburgers. I don't do chicken. I'll do chicken on the grill, but I won't usually do chicken on a smoker. Okay, we're at 5 minutes. So let's take a look at what they're looking like right now. Ooh, looking good. Look at that. Let's take a look at this really fast. Let's look at these. Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
Looking pretty good. Oh. Looking good. I'm excited. All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna swap these out a little bit. Flip them around, mix them up a little. And put them on for another 5 minutes. And it automatically kicks in and goes. And then we got to do this again, and we don't have to do the whole time frame of this, but we'll do this again for the hot sauce, which I'm going to mix these in a little bit more. Do you see, Bryson? Do you know Beaker? Hoff?
Yeah, Hoff.
So I saw Hoff with some sauce called the Hoff sauce. Have you seen that? Have you tried that?
I have not seen the Hoff sauce.
So I actually looked it up. I have some coming from Amazon. It's hot sauce, and I thought Hoff might have made his own sauce because it literally said Hoff in the picture on it. Kind of looked like him. So I was like, does Hoff make his own sauce? Really? That's awesome. But it's not. It's a famous sauce, I guess. But you can get it off of Amazon. It looks pretty good. It looks like a nice hot sauce you can put on stuff.
Does it have a Knight Rider logo?
It should. It should.
We got a question from our audience. Why does your fridge look like a filing cabinet?
Why does my fridge look like a filing cabinet? Is he talking about this fridge over here?
Yeah, it does look like a filing cabinet.
It's like an aesthetic look, like kind of keeps it in, but it's kind of a long fridge.
Dude, the inside of your fridge looks like something out of like a magazine. Like, all right, look in contrast. This is my fridge. My fridge is everything I could squish in. See, it's just like, it fits and it didn't attack me when I got out. Like, that's success.
And then we got our freezer. We got a freezer over here.
Jiminy Christmas. That is just like so organized. I've never seen anything like that.
And then, hang on, this is my pride and joy. Ready? You ready for it? You're gonna like this. My bourbon room.
Ah, that's very nice. I like it.
Yep. It's got a little bourbon barrel there.
Ooh. Oh yeah, that's nice. Jealous. So what kind of sides do you usually make with this? I mean, people don't just like carnivore up, right? You serve something with it?
Yeah, so For me, it's kind of slim picking for what the kids like. A lot of times I'll do smoked mac and cheese, which turns out really well. That my daughter loves mac and cheese. That's her favorite thing. I'll do smoked baked potatoes, which I really like a lot as well, or just general baked potatoes. Asparagus, broccoli goes good with this. Coleslaw also goes very well with this. There's a lot of different things that you can kind of put into this. Sometimes I do like a rice pilaf, mixing in some of that. So it just depends on what you want from a starch perspective and what you do from a vegetable side. My kid's favorite with this meal is the smoked mac and cheese and broccoli. So I like doing that. I do actually like smoking broccoli and cauliflower together as well. I'll take broccoli, cauliflower, throw some olive oil on it, sprinkle my rub on there, and I'll let that cook for a bit in the smoker. I usually increase the temperature to about 280, brown it a little bit, and comes out pretty nice when I do that too. So smoked broccoli and cauliflower is also a big hit of the family.
So probably not interested in fiddleheads. Wait for it.
I don't know what is that?
You want to see it unrolls?
Oh, look! What is that?
It's an alien parasite. So what it is?
That's what it looks like.
Rob Kanaki sent me these. They are immature harvested ferns.
Okay.
So I'm going to be sauteing these in olive oil and just garlic with a little bit of salt. That seems to work for them. First time I ever had them was this week. And then I made I soft boiled potatoes with kosher salt. That's what I'm gonna.
What do you think of them? What's the taste like?
The fiddleheads?
Yeah.
They taste like a mix between asparagus and Brussels sprout.
Okay.
Like combined.
Interesting. That sounds awesome.
Kevin asks, have you ever smoked corn on the cob?
Yes. In fact, smoked corn on the cob is fantastic. What I'll do with smoked corn on the cob is I'll roll it in olive oil first. I'll put my rub all over it, and then I'll smoke the corn on the cob. It gives it a really nice, juicy flavor as you go through. My wife loves the smoked corn on the cob. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Yep. Got to throw that rub on there, though. Always got to throw your rub on there. Whatever favorite rub you have for vegetables and things like that. Doesn't necessarily mean you have separate rubs. There's some great rubs you can buy out there too. I like the chupacabra rub. You can get on Amazon is a very good one. I'm a huge fan of Killer Hogs. Killer Hogs barbecue. It's called I think it's called Barbecue Done Right. It has some great recipes online. Their Killer Hogs barbecue sauce is probably my favorite. It's my wife's by far favorite. It's a bit expensive. It's like $11 a bottle, and the bottle's kind of small. But it's really good barbecue sauce if you want to do that price point, not make your own. So our chicken here is done. We're gonna throw in the next batch here, but take a look at what these look like here in just a second. And they are falling off the bone already. Fantastic. Let me get these suckers going on here really quick. Air crisp again. So do air crisp, we'll do it 350. And let's do these for 8 minutes.
What are you doing right
now? Heating it back up again to throw my second set of wings that are on hot sauce on there. So we'll get that going. We don't have to wait the whole time for that, but just run out there. Now let's take a look at these wings really quick now that they're finished. And take a look here. You see those wings?
Oh yeah, I'll pull mine out.
And you got just enough black char on them and still keeping them juicy and not dried out. That's the most important piece of it. I like a little bit of burnt, not too much burnt, but glazing it a bit, hardening that barbecue sauce and getting it going. I mean, if you look at this really quick, look at this wing really fast. It's still pretty hot. It's too hot. Wish I had my gloves, Bryson.
It's my fault, man. It's my fault.
So look at this chicken wing here really quick. And look how the two wings are just about to fall off of one another. That is a great looking chicken wing that you can basically just pull that meat right off of. Look at that. Look at that. Looking beautiful.
All right. So we got to get our screenshot. So hold up yours. Oh, hold on, I screwed up. Wait.
Oh my God, I can't hold a smile for very long.
Yeah, I know you're not that strong. That's why you do tonal.
I
All right, ready?
don't have the Bryson personal gym.
All right. And then we let them rest.
Let them rest for about 20 minutes. We can wait maybe 5 minutes to give them a try, so we can have everybody on the call see them, so we don't have to wait for 20 minutes for us to dry.
I don't want to wait. I'm starving, man.
What's that?
I'm
Yeah.
hungry. Feed me.
I'm hungry too. My kids are all at baseball right now, baseball practice. So when they get home, they're gonna be chowing on these. They're like, "Dad, are you making the wings?" I'm like, "I'm making the wings." Like, seriously, we have to wait till 8? Yeah, you gotta wait till 8. So they had a little bit of a snack beforehand. Oh, time to add these really quick. Listen to that sizzle. Get a little bit of that sauce on there.
So where did this recipe come
Go.
from? Inspiration.
So it's been an evolution of for me. When I try cooking, I kind of have a repeatable methodology that I do. And what I do is I try different rubs and what I like in the rubs, but I go to what I like. So our kids have a very special favorite, which is this recipe here. But that has come through prototypes. So every time I do chicken wings, I prototype different chicken wings. And so I'll cook my normal one that I maybe find a recipe online for or something like that, but then I'll modify it, I'll change it, I'll mess with it a bit. I'll add something that I think might give it some different flavoring. And I prototype it for about 5 wings each time. And so when my kids try it, they taste test it and tell me if they think that the previous recipe is the best or the new recipe is the best. And then we take that and we try to perfect that new recipe and prototype that one. So it's been trial and error and prototyping different things and trying to figure out good ways of doing it. I think the original recipe, that I found here was an online recipe from Traeger, but it has morphed substantially with different ingredients over time. So about a year worth of switching ingredients out and changing different things and trying different things to see what it would taste like. The Traeger recipe didn't have oregano or thyme. I really like the thyme flavor. The thyme for me, it gives it a nice like a green taste to it, but it really goes into the whole, I think, profile of what you got with going out, the chili powder and the sweetness to it. The adding the chili powder and the cumin together, I think really made a big difference too, with some of the flavoring. And then the paprika, everything's got onion powder, everything's got onion salt or onion powder or salt in general or chili powder or garlic powder. You really have all of those kind of usually mixed in, which gives it some good flavor. But kind of just playing around with different recipes, seeing what you like, and trying experimental prototypes. It's kind of like when you do bourbon, you do small batches of bourbon, and you figure out what works and what doesn't when you're kind of making your mash and trying things out and testing it out. Food is very much the same way.
Have you tried a sugar steak recipe?
A sugar steak recipe? I have not.
All right, so Van Storick, you'll have to give us some more information or like post a link for your question so we know what that is.
A sugar steak recipe sounds good.
I'm guessing it's something where it's caramelizing with the crust.
Yeah. Yep. Giving a nice crust when you're melting it down. Yeah.
How did you get your start in InfoSec?
How did I get my start in InfoSec? So for me, I did very poorly in school. I came from a very low income household where I kind of moved from place to place to place. And computers were kind of a haven for me. And as soon as I got out of high school, I joined the military and I joined signals intelligence for the Marines. So I was in SIGINT. And I ended up homing in on cyber while I was there, and kind of kickstarted my cybersecurity career in the Marines. When I got out, I joined a small consulting shop that I did penetration testing initially. and then kind of grew into that company, and then eventually became a chief security officer for a Fortune 1000 company. And then from there, I decided to leave and start my own two companies, Trusted Second and Binary Defense. So my career has really been paid on the fact of technical capabilities and understanding attacker mindset and penetration testing, red teaming, all that other stuff, and just kind of learning on my own and figuring things out, and really learning from others that have amazing knowledge as well, being a sponge for things. But really my kickstart of my career started with the military. And about time I'm going to switch these up real quick. Another thing that I just recently did, talking about the donations to the TMCF, the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, is so the school that I graduated from was called Bedford High School, where the net median income for a household is, I think, $30,000, which is well below the national average. I think national average is around $50,000 or $60,000. And very minority type of school. So it was, I think, 98% African American, 2% white. And I just recently donated a substantial amount of money to create. It's called the David Kennedy Center of Leadership and Gaming, where it created a whole esports division for the school, and provided over 15 scholarships per year for students where they never had before on esports, gaming, and computing. So, I've been able to take my cybersecurity career and make impacts in local regional areas here as well. I'm also on the board of directors for the technology committee for the school as well. I'm trying to provide technology for the people too. So I've been trying to use my cybersecurity career to help others as well on top of it. So trying to make a difference in every way that we can. But my cybersecurity career really started off in the military when I got out of high school. High school was terrible for me. I basically flunked out of high school, had to go to summer school just to pass, and definitely knew that college wasn't my next step since I was failing out of high school. And so I decided to join the Marines, which is by far the best branch than any other out there. And good rivalry between the Coast Guard, the Navy, the Army, and everybody else that's serving in the Air Force.
You started with the Coast Guard? You started with the Coast Guard.
I did because of Jim McMurray. That's the reason why I started with that. Okay, you know what? I'm throwing all the service out there. We're all equal. We're all equal.
Yeah. Just some of us have better PR.
So we're about done on the hot sauce wings, but the barbecue wings should be about ready to eat, I would say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these out once it hits the minute mark, and then I think we'll try the barbecue ones. What do you think, Bryson?
I'm game.
Normally, I like meat sitting for a little bit. Feel free to educate me on this, Bryson. But my understanding around letting meat rest is that when you're cooking it, it's actually still cooking itself internally, temperature-wise. And so when you're letting meat rest, it's basically from the inside out, releasing that heat and tenderizing the meat as it's kind of going through, and reducing the temperature to allow you to eat it itself. So normally when I'm making brisket or I'm making pulled pork or things like that, I'll let it sit for an hour or 2 hours at a time. I have what's called a Cambro, which is a styrofoam kind of plastic or styrofoam cooler, basically, that keeps the heat kind of insulated, and I let it sit for about an hour to 2 hours afterwards, and then I pull my pork or start to cut the meat, which gives it a real tenderness, juiciness for it.
Yeah, so the thing about it is it's the liquid inside the meat. And so if you think about how liquid expands with heat and contracts, you're redistributing the juices, which is why, particularly for steak, let it sit before you cut it. Otherwise, you lose that juice.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this really quick. So my air fryer is done. Let's take a look at what these look like here. Looking really good. Look at that. Really good balance between the char on the actual chicken itself and the flavor, the thickening up of the sauce. Over here on the for your left-hand side, I believe that's the barbecue, which should be cooled down and ready for us to eat. And the right-hand side is my hot sauce that I made that I've never tried before, so I figured I'd give it a shot.
Oh yeah, we taking a bite?
Do a bite.
The bite time? The bite time? I want to do bite time. Oh my God.
So good. It is really good. Look at that. The meat just comes right off of that bone.
Those are good, dude. Those are really
Thank
good.
you. Really good.
These should be more famous than you are.
I agree with you. Ooh, I can't do the hot sauce one yet. Definitely still too hot to touch. So
That's actually one of the things I appreciate about you, having known you for several years, is obviously you're very successful, you're very popular, you're very well known, but you still maintain like just, you're very nice. You're a really nice guy in person. I mean, you are like perpetually nice. I mean, you're just a good dude, and I've always appreciated that because I know a lot of folks in our space who aren't good people.
Right back at you. Right back at you. You know, it's for me, my whole goal in life is to leave the place a little bit better than I came on it, and if I can do that through helping others or being positive, being happy, I really try to do that, and I try to live my life through positivity, and that's just been kind of a life lesson for me. Or I had a pretty bad experience in Iraq, and so one of my life lessons is treat every day that it's not a given, that it could end any time, and if you end today, what does that mean for everything that you've done in the past? And so for me, it's more so making sure I take care of my kids, making sure I take care of my family, and trying to help others out wherever I can. It's kind of my life motto.
Well, it is appreciated, my friend.
Thank you. All right, let me try this one real quick. That's tasty. That hot sauce is tasty. I'll give you the recipe for that.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, habanero, jalapeno, vinegar, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and water. Good. Very good.
The fiddleheads are going.
Oh, looking great.
If you cook them right, they're actually decent. This is actually my third go at it. The first time I did them, I wasn't that impressed. The last time I made them, I just kept it really simple, did it this way, made sure they were cooked thoroughly, and they were actually really tasty.
That looks awesome. I've never tried them before. I'll have to give them a look. Can you order them online, or how do you get them? You can't get them in stores, can you?
So, one of the former cybersecurity advisors from one of the administrations has gotten on this kick of sending me random food from Maine. Now lives in Oregon. And so these just showed up. Like I got them and I'm like, what the hell are these? This is this plastic bag in refrigeration of that.
Interesting. I've never seen those like at a store or anything like that. Very unique.
I've never heard of them. Yeah. I've never even heard of them. They're also actually fairly well known in Russia.
Okay. Yeah, interesting story. I did a trip out to Russia one time, and went to a restaurant and ordered this. It was a fancy restaurant or something like that for a business associate. Nothing illegal. I just want to throw that out there. When you talk about going to Russia and having a nice fancy business dinner, I was working for Fortune 1000 at the time, and they're like, order whatever you want to. I'm like, okay. And there was this. I didn't realize at the time, but it was like a prehistoric fish that is super rare, which is I feel horrible about, by the way. Like I didn't know any of this as I ordered it, but this thing came out on a platter and it looked like a dinosaur, and it had like a tail of a dinosaur and all sorts of stuff. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, what in the hell am I about to eat here? Like, what is this? And it turns out it's like a very rare fish that it's dated back to like prehistoric times. So I'll have to send you a picture of that fish. I have pictures of it down the road, but it was a good fish.
I want to know how you killed the dinosaur.
I was about to say, I still to this day feel horrible about eating that fish. Like, I don't know what we're doing as a human race, but we should not be eating fish that are almost extinct. That's not a good thing.
Well, so I don't know if it was a really truly like potentially endangered species, but there are a lot of fish that we get served that if you were to see the entire fish do look prehistoric. I mean, it's like, what the hell is that? What shows up on your plate? You know, whitefish.
Let me see if I can find a really quick picture of it.
Like Chilean sea bass. Chilean sea bass look terrifying.
Let me see. I should have oh, yep, I got a picture of it. Look at this. You see that?
That's a fish.
Yeah.
It looks like a possum insect.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, that's a fish. Let me see if I got a better picture of it. I think that's all I got.
What did it taste
December.
Like? Can you pronounce
what it tastes like? It was. Oh, I have no idea what it was. I have no idea. But that's the picture of what I took. I wish I had a picture of like the body. But basically, I mean, you didn't eat any of this. There was like a tail that went off of it, and you eat all the meat off the tail. And that's what I ended up eating. And it was a mild fish. I would say very comparable to like a salmon, maybe. You know, in texture and taste. So, yeah. Anyways, all right, well, that's all I got.
That's very cool. I don't know if you know, I used to live in the Soviet Union.
What's that?
I used to live in the Soviet Union. I moved there from there as a teenager. But I never had that fish, so I have no idea what that is.
I have no idea either, dude. If you find out, let me know.
Back when it was the Soviet Union, we were just excited when there was bread in the store. That was a big deal.
Yeah, I can imagine. Still sauteing?
Yes. Yeah. Still working it. It's actually really good. Doing it simple. Well, any final thoughts you would like to leave us with?
Well, I'm actually leaving here to go pick up another beehive. So I am now a beekeeper, and I have one hive right now that is active underway, and I'm going to make my own honey, which I can use for cooking. So I'm going to try as many honey recipes as I possibly can. So you're going to see a big honey face from me next year.
So
hot honey. I'm going to try to make my own hot honey.
That says Dave's Hot Honey. I will feature it on an episode.
You got it. I'll do Dave's Hot Honey after this. But I've been getting into beekeeping as of late, and I got a starter beehive. You know, I'm a big proponent of maintaining the earth. You know, I think we're destroying the earth in a lot of ways. You know, for me, bees are one of the foundational insects that produce around 70% of our entire agricultural space. Yep. And you know, we've obviously seen a decline in bees due to not murder hornets, which is a much overhyped thing in the news, but more so to pesticides and how we're treating you know, bees in general. And so, you know, for me, it's more so just being able to have my own bees, make my own honey. You know, you're not doing anything bad or wrong by harvesting honey from bees. They have plenty of honey that they make, you know, throughout the year. And so I usually have what are called 2 brood boxes, where they have plenty of honey to last through the wintertime in Ohio. And then I have what's called a bee super, which has what's called a queen excluder, which just basically causes the worker bees to go up and then produce a bunch of honey throughout those. And it's just honey, no larvae or brood that create the bees themselves. And so, you know, for me, it's a great way of harvesting honey and being able to provide honey. You know, you can, you know, usually a harvest can grab, you know, 1 to 2 gallons of honey itself. You know, you can do that a couple of times a season. And, you know, it's just kind of a neat thing. It's good for the, you know, good for the earth, and, you know, insects, you know, the bees to me are one of the foundational pieces for it. So at least trying to help out in my area of what I can do.
That's
Plus,
awesome.
my kids love it. My daughter has taken a huge loving to bees. Every time I go out there, she's like, "Dad, I'm getting my suit on." So she got her own, you know, beekeeping suit, and she's out there, you know, handling the plates and you know, getting, you know, working with the bees and all that other stuff. So she's also been very interested in it.
And you're not worried about like colony collapse disorder happening to your hive?
You know, it can possibly happen. You know, you can have a swarm. You can have where bees, you know, die off based on mites or other issues that are out there. I'm keeping an eye on them. You know, I'm taking care of them. I do have anti-mite stuff. I have things that I'm learning too. I'm very new to a lot of this in many cases. But I'm starting my second hive now, and my first hive is going really well right now. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, Dave, we're rooting for you against the murder hornets.
Yeah, thanks. I'm out there with the sniper waiting for the murder hornet. So, you know, I'm in the back. We're back with a nice sniper. Like, no, I really appreciate having me on, Bryson. Appreciate everybody watching. And if you have any questions, I mean, I'll get you the hot sauce recipe. The hot sauce recipe actually turned out really good. In fact, I'm gonna have one more.
And make sure to post your donations and tag us for the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Dude, good to see you as always.
Very much. Take care.
Later.
Later.